ABL Media Center highlight.
Now, there's a short street about 2 blocks from the ABL's offices. Those of you who may not be as steeped in history might call it SNCC Way. But those of you like me who grew up in Atlanta when it was really kind of popping around would call it SNCC Way. It's a small geographical reminder that Atlanta University students of the early 1960s challenged school leadership and city fathers by drafting one of the most eloquently written statements in the civil rights movement. It came to be known as an appeal for human rights. One of its primary authors is a Legends Hall of Fame inductee tonight. Please watch the screens to learn a little more about the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee and one of its leaders, a current Georgia State professor, author, entrepreneur, and civil rights legend, Lonnie C. King, Jr.
Dr. Lonnie C. King. Lonnie King was a young Morehouse student when he took action for change, unifying students from 6 colleges for the Atlanta student movement. King organized an effort that ultimately led to the desegregation of Atlanta public accommodations.
There were 6 colleges and universities over there. I did not believe that you ought to have 6 different movements going on from one center, because my point was, what was the common denominator among all 6 schools? We were African Americans. We were being denied. So why should we go down there with 6 different entities trying to change something?
The Atlanta student movement captured Lonnie King's spirit. After graduating Morehouse, King shifted his plans from pursuing a PhD in economics to changing the social mores of the South.
It was clear to me that we needed to do everything we could to change this society, because the white South was not going to ever change unless they were forced to change.
He continued his leadership for human and civil rights as the youngest president of the Atlanta branch of the NAACP, where he negotiated the hiring of the first Black Atlanta Board of Education superintendent.
What a lot of folks don't understand was that there was a question of continuing to chase white folk with busing when they were leaving the system. And Lonnie's strategy was, well, put black folk in charge of the system if we want to make sure that the allocation of resources are as it should be.
It's also in the interest of everybody, because an educated, effective workforce is a critical part of having a vibrant, economically sound community. And therefore, we wanted everybody to get a good education.
Also, as leader of the NAACP, Lonnie King organized the Broadcasting Coalition.
We forced the 25 broadcasters in Atlanta to sign agreements to hire African Americans. And we also set up a training program that they paid for college students from the AU Center to learn broadcasting. That model that we put together was a model that changed broadcasting all over America in terms of getting blacks and Hispanics and women in it.
Many people don't know of the contributions that he's made, and I think it's important that people like Lonnie be recognized, and that the current generations know that it took what he did and what the rest of us did to bring about the changes that they enjoy today. And it's going to take that same kind of fervor, that same kind of commitment to make the changes that are called for today.
I just don't think there's anybody else in Atlanta who's been so selfless, so committed, so balanced in his outlook, so calm in his persuasive efforts to bring us together and take us forward together.
Atlanta Business League is proud to induct Dr. Lonnie C. King into the 2014 Men of Influence Legends Hall of Fame.
I just noticed that I'm wearing the same tie. So I have another one. Lonnie asked me to come in his stead tonight because his wife passed this morning a few minutes before 8. And I want you to know something about the measure of this man. He made a commitment to his wife more than a decade ago that no matter how sick she got, he would personally care for her at home. And he did that. She'd been bedridden for most of the past 10 years. And only when he needed help did he bring in professional help. Otherwise, he's taking care of her until this morning when he witnessed her slip from mortality into immortality. Dr. Aura Sterling King, a Spelman alum. Lonnie's one of those guys that you can't get away from. I met him in February of 1960, and I think he's called me 10 times a day ever since. You know him. I have been his partner in crime for many of the things that you saw mentioned here, including the desegregation of public accommodations in Atlanta, the Broadcast Coalition, the bringing in of the first school superintendent, black school superintendent. We formed a consulting firm together. We started a charter school together, and various other things. Lonnie is perhaps as selfless an individual as you would ever find. He's often said that he was born looking up at the bottom. He had very humble beginnings, but even in high school, he became president of his student body. And you will recall that our modus operandi throughout the civil rights movement was that of nonviolence. And in spite of the fact that Lonnie King was a very effective running back at Morehouse College and a champion boxer for a whole fleet in the Navy, he allowed guys half my size to kick him and push him around. And I personally witnessed 3 feet behind him, a young white man, well, not that young, throw acid in his face. And his doctor said he would have been blinded if he had not been wearing large sunglasses. This tells you something of the measure of the man. He has been persistent in his efforts to make things better for others. And it is an honor to you that you honor him, a man of distinction. Thank you.
Thank you for watching this ABL Media Center highlight. Please return often as we are continually updating our ABL Media Center showcase.